Hello, my man's Mr. Salisbury. So,
Going
Easter,
on?
talk to me. What's going on? What's the situation? What's the come down saying? What you been eating?
Oh, mate, everything. So I didn't even get an Easter egg, mate.
Oh,
I didn't even
sacrilege.
get. Do you know what though? I got two kids, and obviously one of them's 1 year old, and the other one's 6. So they get like their Easter eggs like together. So I just eat theirs.
I was going to say, I thought, help them out, help them get through it, do your bit, be supportive.
Yeah, mate. I'm a supportive father. Like that, you see, help
This
them
is,
out, help the boys out.
give back and
Yeah,
that,
like
yeah.
I said to like my wife said to me, she was like, you got to get the kids some Easter eggs as well. And I was like, I'm not buying them any more Easter eggs. They're gonna get so many. Like she bought them like 4, and then like grandparents had bought them stuff, and I was like, I'm not buying. No
It's
way.
just so much. Like, I don't know if I'm just old and boring now, but like 2 Easter eggs is like just ridiculous. It's like 2 days worth of calories. What the fuck's this?
Yeah, mate. I don't need any more calories as well. Lockdown got me looking more round, mate. I don't want to be eating too much more shit, really.
A well-rounded athlete, mate. That's what we are. It's all good.
Yes, mate. Very good, very true.
So you've got a body armor sorted. Now, this is something I thought was really interesting. So we had I think a couple of rounds a little while ago, and one
Oh
thing I
yeah,
was
yeah.
really like, I don't know, surprised by is how really well you spar in the sense of the weight, the pressure, and again, like coming completely new, you don't know who they are from a different gym, and again, it was just
Mm.
that perfect kind of pace and tempo. Like when you're sparring anyway, is that always your sort of rule of thumb? Have you got your own sort of like, I don't know, reference points?
When it comes to sparring, in general, I tend to spar quite hard. I don't really like sort of flow roll. I don't really. I'll do maybe one round to warm up with someone I can warm up with. Normally, like one of like the higher grade guys that you can sort of flow a bit with. But I do like to train hard. But when I train with somebody, like say the first time when we trained together, obviously we hadn't trained before. I always try and set like a basic standard where like it's not. You don't want to come across as being a dick going really hard as well,
Mhm.
but then you also don't want to look like you're a pussy and just going well light. So I kind of set it to like a basic standard, and then like see what the other person does. And then if they sort of want to speed up as well, I'm like, cool. I never get offended or like upset if anyone tries to go really, really hard. I like that. And we had quite a hard round, to be fair. It wasn't like we were going light. And I try not to be a dick as well. Like obviously I'm fucking heavy. Like I think when we rolled, I was like 105 kilos. So it's like I don't want to sit there, maybe if I got like a position and just try and fucking squeeze and be strong and be heavy. I'd rather just sort of carry on going, like the end of the day, training, I'll try and explain this a bit more. Training is training. It's not a match. It's very different. You're not trying to just get it done and smash the other person. It is training, but you want to train hard and you want to train correctly as well. And don't give the other. And also, there's nothing worse as well than say we did roll and I was just went light. You went home, you thought, fucking hell, Alex ain't any good. I thought he was supposed to be quite good. He can do fucking nothing. Do you know what I mean? You got to have that kind of balance where it's like it's enough to show your level, but not enough to be like a match. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Because again, there's a whole, jiu-jitsu's got a rule of thumb for this, where I think it's like you submit the beginners really quickly 2 or 3 times, then you flow roll so they know what's up, but they don't feel hurt.
Yeah.
But one
Yeah,
thing you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
one thing you were saying with this, I really like was the fact you sort of the give and take. You're setting a
Mm.
sensible pace that okay, we know we're not tickling, but we're actually going to go for it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
try and
yeah.
hurt you and jump for random shit, but I'm not going to like just push it. I like that a lot. And also, you're
Yeah.
saying there being aware of like the weight distribution, not pinning, and not just sitting there saying, "Oh, look, I won the round, look how good I am," but also being able to flow. Now, there's a lot of I took a lot from that. And the reason why it took so much from that in itself was the fact, one, being another athlete anyway, one
Mm.
being a gym owner, one being a black belt. So again, all those things of nice X's on your back to an extent as people who've, are aware of these things. And also
Mm.
it's a natural thing anyway, to be able to still have that level of composure and I don't know, awareness. I took a lot from that. And
Yeah, I appreciate that.
again, it's a bit of a
Mm.
underappreciated thing of this gentleman's agreement of sparring. Like in your
Yeah.
classes generally, what is your, I don't know, is it everything the comp pace for rounds? Is it people do their own thing and you sort of go with who you know is going to be a certain way, or what's your? I don't know.
Well, yeah. To be fair, we have quite a sort of a big sort of competition group, if you know what I mean, like in the team. So like even the lower grades, like the white and blue belts, they all want to compete as well, or even if they haven't competed already, where they've sort of only just started like training, and then sort of like COVID hit and they couldn't do competitions. They're all like super keen. They're like, we want to compete, we want to train hard, and they see like the others going pretty hard, and they kind of want to do the same sort of thing. But also, everyone has that sort of understanding. Like I've got guys in the gym, sort of like brown and purple belts and stuff, that I know there's no, like, it's always hard training. Like, we always want to train hard. They want to train hard. They're sort of like pro athletes and stuff. But then you've got some of the sort of older guys in the gym that aren't there to go and like be world champions and stuff. But you still want to have good training with them as well. And you also want them to get their hard training, but not on the same sort of level as like just they're butting heads of each other sort of thing. So it's definitely a fine balance. I think it's, for me, in like in a sort of standard class, you sort of warm up, drill, spar, and then the sparring is very much who you're with. So it's always, if I'm with someone like another competitor in the gym, one of my students, it's always hard. Unless specifically we don't want to go hard, it's always like a match. But then if I'm with somebody who's not so much a competitor or newer or a little bit sort of like more relaxed, then myself and to be the other students as well, they match that as well. They don't try and smash the older sort of purple belts or whatever that are just there like once or twice a week for fun. You know, and they know that we don't have that in the gym sort of thing. That gets sort of cancelled out pretty quick if someone starts acting like that, which they don't, to be fair. I haven't really had to deal with that in a long time, to be fair. So
That's a huge thing I like about building that rapport, and again, earning that rapport, earning that sort of, okay, you've had the rounds of the people, they sort of learn to set the pace, understand what the pace really is. And on top
yeah,
of that, like, things getting sort of fizzled out anyway. Like, we're all aware it's a martial art. Like, albeit very nice, it's jiu-jitsu, it's just a bit of fun. It's still a fight to an extent. Like, as much as the more experienced older belts who are hobbyists, and still, it's like, you still know what you're doing. Like, you're not
yeah,
going to be too gentle, but it's the same thing. I'm not cranking stuff on. Not This is a disclaimer for every white belt listening now. If someone is in a turtle position, do not pull them backwards on their own knees to try and get the hooks in.
yeah.
You are the worst
I,
kind of people. You don't mean to be the worst kind of people, but you are.
yeah, you guys need to leave, never come back.
I said, quick, do like cry or something.
Yeah,
They want you. But again, it's things
yeah, they
like that.
definitely
It's
will.
like understanding how to roll to an extent, how to be, I don't know, sparable, what the word is. There's sort of, you build your
Yeah,
training partners, and again, you earn
definitely.
their, I don't know, it's a bit of a mix really, but I like it. Now, regards of how you spar and your understanding and your, I don't know, planning as such, do you have set structures, sequences of games? Is it sort of push pull, see what they give you? How do you like to start roles as such?
Depends, mate. You know, it depends on sort of how I'm feeling and stuff. I like to sort of like it depends on the person. Just as well, some days I wanted to go like really hard, and I'll try and pick like the rounds to go really, really hard. And if I want to wrestle and stuff, I know people that won't pull guard with me will try and wrestle with me. That's always good. But then sometimes I will like have guys that play like certain types of games, like good like leg lock guys, or good like guys that play for sort of like what I call like an inside control, sort of with like single leg X guard, butterfly and stuff like that. So I will try and engage into them positions to sort of work out, not even like give them and be like, oh, I'm letting you work for me. I'm not. It's 100% when I'm in that position, but I know they're really good there. So like I want to try and get better in them positions and sort of go from there. But it's never, even if I'm going with somebody, like I said, like a lower grade, I don't want to give them that false sense of security as for themselves as well, and be like, oh, that just worked on the black belt or whatever. And then they go home thinking, oh, okay, that works. And they go and do it in competition, it doesn't work, it's smashed. So I'll still let them work from them positions, but I might not use, say, my A game. I might use like a different type of game that I'm playing, but still it's 100% if that makes sense, on that person.
There's so much in that I really like. And with that is the understanding that it's not giving them something. It's
Yeah,
if I sit down butterfly guard, you'll engage with the
yeah,
hook, you'll try and pass, but it's not a case of you're going to be so stand back up, trying to wave me back to
yeah,
my feet. It's sort of you're
yeah.
engaging it, but you're not giving it. It's a very
Well,
big
like an
difference there.
example on that, say we're in a match, you pull butterfly, right? If we're in a match, I'm gonna try and pin your leg to one side and pass on the outside and use like a left to right motion to get
Mhm.
past your legs. If we're in the gym and we're training and I'm trying to work that position, I'll engage into the butterfly guard. I'll engage into the position. That's the position you want to play. If you engage that first initial pull into butterfly, that means to me, okay, you want to play butterfly. All right, cool. Let's go. Let's do that, and try and work defending your sweeps and your sort of entries into like leg entries and stuff like that, and back takes, and I'll try and pass from there. But like I said, if we're in competition, I ain't giving you an inch. I ain't gonna be like, I ain't gonna go into that because I know that's what you're good at because you've pulled it. So I'm gonna try and pass on the outside. Does that make sense?
Definitely, I like that a lot. And this is something for people to understand a lot with competition training is yes, going in the deep end of someone's back, giving them these positions, but in competition, yeah, you don't play butterfly, you pass their guard.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely,
very
absolutely.
different thing, and it's not.
Yeah,
It's understanding to switch on and off. I feel this comes with a lot of experience and obviously a lot of mistakes being made. But with
yeah,
your
cool.
style training, how would you like to do it? Are you more open sparring? You sort of work out from the feet onwards, or is it very, I don't know, situational? What do you like to do with your comp training?
To be honest, I see a lot of people talk about this, that they do a lot of sort of situation, positional sparring, which definitely does have a place. But I think it can get really boring for me personally. And like when I talk to my students, it can get fucking boring. Um, just doing that sort of thing. I know a lot of people just like, it's like that joke, isn't it? No one wants to drill, everyone wants to spar. But now it's like
That
everyone's
joke, that was true.
yeah, I thought it was a true thing. It happens from pad and above. When you get to pad, nobody wants to warm up, no one wants to
What's a
drill
warm
this.
up?
But you haven't done one of them for a while, mate.
That's physio to
But
do. What the fuck that is?
yeah, so really, like, I like to just, we do a lot of sparring. Like it's always like we try and get sort of like 6 to 10 rounds sparring. It's always a minimum of 6-minute rounds, and it's always from the feet. In my gym, we have we didn't train when me and you trained. We trained at my friend's gym has like our jiu-jitsu
South
team
Coast,
as
I
an
think, wasn't
affiliate
it?
there. Yeah, South Coast. It's my
Big up
friend
Dan.
owns that gym, and yeah, big up Dan. And yeah, we trained there. At my gym in Hastings, which is sort of a little bit down the road where the Novo HQ is, we've got like a big mat space downstairs, and then we also have a small mat space upstairs. So a couple of nights a week we have the small mat space. So when we have the small mat space, we do sort of more positional sparring, and then we go from the knees. However, it's not wrestling from the knees. That shit doesn't happen. I'm not having that in the gym. It's one person pull guard. I don't want to look over and see two people trying to push each other over from the knees. It's like, if you're the higher grade, pull guard. I don't care if you're shit on your back, pull guard. And then you have them rounds. However, when you're downstairs on the big mat, it's always from the feet. I don't care if you want to pull guard, that's fine, but it always starts from the feet, because my pet hate is training from the knees when you can go from the feet. I don't agree with it. It's fucking stupid. Probably offend some people saying that. However, I get it if the class is busy. If the class is busy and you can't do it, and you've got to go from the ground, go from the ground, but don't go from the knees. Have someone start on their bum, because it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
And I like that a lot because, again, a lot of people, I say a lot of people, it's mainly me, hopefully other people as well. When it comes to competition, starting from the feet initially is always a bit like, okay, shit, now what? Spend the whole night before, like,
Oh,
you
mate,
chipping
yeah.
up jiu-jitsu takedowns and BJJ white belts. Like, oh, sick. Just in
Yeah,
time.
yeah, literally. Some people are just petrified from the feet. They're like, I've had people that like turned up at the gym either for like when they've joined up, they trained somewhere else and stuff, or they've just like visited, and they're like, oh, I've not gone from like the feet before. I'm like, can we start on the ground? I was like, well, why do you want to pull guard? He's play guard. He's like, yeah, I normally just play guard. I was like, well, pull guard then. Like, it's cool, just pull guard. Like, get into that sort of mentality. Like, when you start like competition, you start on the feet. If you don't want to do competition, that's fine. Or if you've got to use jiu-jitsu in real life and you want to play guard, which isn't a great idea, but still, you still start on your feet, you know?
But even that, like, competition wise, to go into that even further, pulling guard without a grip is a penalty point. You stand back up
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
And even understanding how to pull guard properly, because even then, like, people will just flippantly say pulling guards for pussies, which it kind of is. It's still me when pussy was fun. We'll ignore that close to home, very stinging part. But again, it's
Yeah.
what you're doing with that pull. Again, giving the guard pulling the same kind of detail you give a takedown. You don't just take them down. You have to set things up. You have to get in positions. What attack are you going to hit off of that? Are you just going to sit down passively? Are you going to set up a sweeper and attack, and so on and so forth? These are
Absolutely.
more intricate than the things are. And again, it is intimidating initially, but it's
You
more
quickly get
intimidating
used
being
to it.
reluctant, I feel.
What's that? Say that
When,
again?
when you're a bit like reluctant and nervous, it's way more dangerous than if you're relaxed. Think, fuck it, if I
Yeah,
fall over, I'm
definitely. You're
fine.
like, oh shit. Please, can we just get to the ground?
This is half the point. And this is the rest of that conversation is like, okay, is jiu-jitsu really that important in a street fight? But what if you can't get them down in the first place?
Exactly. That's why I put a post out the other day about talking about the self-defense scenario. It doesn't matter how good your jiu-jitsu is. If you can't get your jiu-jitsu, if you can't use your jiu-jitsu, it's fucking irrelevant. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you can't, if you can't take somebody down, use your jiu-jitsu, then your jiu-jitsu is dead.
It's non-existent.
That's why wrestling's important.
All of it, everything. But again, this is sort of the point of the application of what you're doing. Because as much as you could be a hobbyist, do it for fun, you could do it for self-defense and everything else. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't get a lot of street fights. I don't tend to, call people names in the street and just, provoke people. But you
Yeah,
should
exactly.
do their business. But
Yeah,
again, it's horse for courses.
yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? I don't even ever. I tried to explain this to somebody before. I was like, I don't do jiu-jitsu for like any sort of reason to be able to defend myself in like a self-defense scenario. It just so happens that the sport I got into can translate to actually give you sort of self-defense skills. Like if I wanted to play football or cricket or something like that, that's not going to help me in a self-defense scenario. I didn't start jiu-jitsu or even MMA when I started doing MMA to be like, right, I want to do that to be safe on the street and learn to look after myself. You give a fuck about that. That's completely irrelevant. It just so happens that it transfers over, you know.
I mean, you say that, but like, you might have had it as well. If someone comes up to you, say, if you can't hit the crossbar from here, we're going to cave your head and take your phone. Like, you know, these things are applicable.
Mate, I was fucking terrible at football. I would have got battered all the time. I'm the worst.
Just bring it,
I'm so
back.
bad.
Don't worry about this. You get the fucking wind up your side on us. But this is sort of, I really like what you said there, because this is, again, myself, you train because you love it. Like,
yeah, mate, absolutely.
You don't
if I didn't
fight,
like
just
it,
don't fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just don't.
You can't do it these days anyway. You just get in too much trouble. You know, it's not
social
like
distance.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't even be near anybody. How can you fight anybody? So technically, you don't really need any self-defense because nobody's allowed to come 2 meters close to you. So you're never going to get an altercation. You're all right. Sweet.
Well, fingers crossed. Yeah, sweet as nut. But this is
Yeah.
where the old school Gracie thing of you learn the self-defense and the cliche ways of, you know, they grab your hair with one looping movement and you can't pull it and you've got to do the trips and that kind of shit.
Don't even get me started on that shit.
I kind of feel the thought being there, I get and appreciate the premise of, okay, we're doing sport jiu-jitsu for fun because we want to do it. But whilst we're here, it makes sense to keep it applicable. Like, do you, I take it from that reaction, you don't do that side of stuff, but you do like any kind of ground and pound stuff just for like the jiu-jitsu people?
No, never. I never teach any type of self-defense anyway. Like literally, I have guys that just like are really good guard players. They don't really wrestle, but they would still just jump on you and they would choke you to death. Like they don't need to learn how to like block a punch and then fucking pummel their arm under. And what if someone grabs you from behind? And it's a little bit ridiculous now, you know. Yeah, it's a bit stupid. I mean, MMA is the closest thing you can really do to learning self-defense to in that sort of situation. Not any of that shit, mate. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it doesn't have a place in my gym, that's for sure. I mean, you learn jiu-jitsu in a sport for sport jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu is going to work in a street fight. Let's be real. It's 100% going to work. Especially if you train at the right academy. Most academies these days, I would say, teach some form of takedowns. So there's no excuse to not know takedowns and be able to use your jiu-jitsu in a self-defense scenario. Well, not fucking any of that fucking shit that's block here, this person does that, and you're going to do this and do that. That's not real. That's not going to happen. No way.
What you said there really emphasizes that point, because again, when it comes to the old school katas and forms, they are in place of actually practicing what you're doing. And the reason why jiu-jitsu has the reputation it does is because you can trial and error it so often. You can fail often, fail frequently, fail well, and you can progress. The fact you can test it under pressure is sort of the point, because everyone says, "Oh, I saw Jean-Claude Van Damme do this, and I'm going to do this." And now when push comes to shove, I'm going to spin around, and job's done. But you're not. Spoiler alert: you're not.
It's not going to happen. And also in that scenario as well, like you got to remember, like most people, like even some of the like really high level guys in my gym, have never even been in a street altercation. It's very different when you're in an altercation in the street when it's not in the gym, and it's not like that. Like someone could potentially try and kill you. Your adrenaline and you're going to panic, and you're going to go to what you're most confident in and what comes most naturally. And if you train jiu-jitsu, that's what it will be. You know, not just something that you might have learned a bit every now and then. Do some self-defense classes, or once a week you do some self-defense as a warm-up. I've seen these videos online of these self-defense, even from like jiu-jitsu people, and it blows my mind that people are still teaching that. No, it really does.
Where it gets really scary is the confidence these people have from doing it. Because again, as much as you could always say, don't judge, let people do their own thing, it's not the coaches where the fear is. It's the beginners who think, fuck, okay, I'm solid now. I can walk around thinking this, that, and the other, and you know.
Yeah.
I know, push here, do that. Kimasabi, here we are, we're sorted. But no, it's scary, man. These people with sincere confidence. You know, the white belt arrogance. Like I had it as well, where you learn like 2 sweeps from guard and there's a couple of subs. You think you're like, you know,
I'm the fucking man.
I'm thinking Gracie reincarnate. Here we are, Dan Gracie from fucking.
No one can touch me. Yeah, mate. We've all been there.
This is sort of the point, though, is how you sort of, I don't know, rein in that ego and understanding. Like throughout your sort of belt progression, like how's your mindset been on jiu-jitsu? Has it changed like dramatically from belt to belt? Has it been fairly the same kind of
Mate,
themes?
it feels, don't know, it feels like a long time. I don't. Someone asked the other day, like, do I remember like the first time I submitted someone? I don't even remember, mate. Like, I remember being a white belt. Obviously, I remember being a white belt and getting whooped all the time. I do remember that, like it was yesterday.
Glory days.
Yeah, it was sort of. It was just. Remember, I was a white belt. Used to just turn up at class. I had a few friends that sort of started at the same time as well. And we all sort of white belts together. And then my friend that got me into it, he was like a white belt as well, but had like a few stripes. And then yeah, just get beat up all the time. And then I think I got my blue belt, and then my period to blue to purple was when I was fighting MMA. So I didn't even really put the gi on. I think I was a blue belt, and I didn't even really know how to do a collar choke. Like I was like no gi wrestling MMA. Then I got my purple belt, and I feel like when I got my purple belt, I got very much into jiu-jitsu. Like I went to Brazil, I think 2 days after I got my purple belt, something like that. So I was like still a blue belt at heart, but had a purple belt on. So it was fucking. You can imagine it was hard days, you know, when I was training.
Bit close to home. Here we are.
Yeah, and then and I was and then I really got into jiu-jitsu. I was like living in like a fighter's house. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Connection Rio?
Is that where Darren Till went?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Nah, I don't think so.
The same kind of like a fighter dorm, and like, you know, you live with other fighters, you live in the gym, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
sort
But
of go
it was
out.
jiu-jitsu fighters. It wasn't really MMA fighters. I don't know. It had like I met some real cool guys. I had like Jamie Hughes is there, like a really high level Welsh black belt. Sean Coates, like a Gracie Barra black belt. Mark Linders from Progress. You know Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, them guys are all there as well when I was there, and it was literally like a jiu-jitsu hub of like loads of sort of people from
Oh
England, other
wow.
places, and that's when I really got into. Like I remember like people were watching like the Mendes brothers doing Berimbolo, and I didn't even know what it was. Like I was like, what the fuck is this? And then like that's when I really got into jiu-jitsu when I was a purple belt, and that's when I decided to actually stop fighting in May, because I had like a couple of pullouts, and then just really sort of like homed in on the jiu-jitsu.
I mean, with all this, let me just put this on do not disturb, he's buzzing away. One thing with that I fucking love is the fact being surrounded by so many like-minded people again. It's the whole thing about, if you've seen Further, you've been on the shoulders of giants, because of like the whole Oscar Wilde thing. And having people like, you know, Mark Lindars with wrestling and things like that, that wealth of experience. Again, your ceiling goes from the gym around you and your world being there to the new environment with all these people from that background, this background, this background. Again, it's not even, and because of your experience at that point, you could appreciate that. Because again, going there as a white belt, you'd think, okay, it's all just stuff I don't know. As the collection. Whereas now I know a bit of that, but now that bit can become a bunch, and so on and so forth, and keep on going. So yeah, it's so profound. And regards to making that step, then what encouraged you to make that trip out there?
Why did I go? So I was fighting MMA. I had an MMA fight booked. I was gonna go. I was gonna go to America to train, and then I remember I just met my wife, obviously girlfriend at the time, and she was going to Thailand with some friends. And I contemplated going there to train, but I just thought if I go there, I'm not going to train. And then I spoke to like my coach at the time, and he wanted to go as well. And we just ended up being like, fuck it, let's go out there. And we went out for like a couple of months and stayed at this fighter's house and just literally trained jiu-jitsu 2 times a day, and then lifted weights in the day, sort of like a morning like jiu-jitsu in the evening, and then like in the day we'd lift weights or we'd do some sort of like MMA training.
Oh mate, that's beautiful.
But mate, it was good. It was amazing. Obviously, I was like having to watch my weight for the fights, and then my opponent pulled out. So I was talking to the promoter while I was out there. Then he got me another opponent. Then he pulled out, and by this point, I was like a couple of weeks into the trip, and I was like, you know what, like, don't worry about it if it's that much ag. Like, not like a rude way, but I was like, don't worry about it. Like, if it's ag to get me an opponent and stuff, just don't worry about it. I'm going to enjoy my trip. I'm going to train hard rather than having to train for a fight and watch my weight. At this point, my Portuguese was terrible. I couldn't even order food. It was a nightmare trying to get food in like the first few weeks because they just had no idea. So I was just getting what I was given really in like the restaurants and stuff. So it was nice not to have to worry about my weight. And then I come back and it kind of just sort of, the MMA fizzled out and I just didn't really want to do it. and I wanted to just do the jiu-jitsu. So it was fucking wicked, mate. It was a really good trip, and I'm glad that I'd done it and stayed there for like a longish period of time. I always tell people, if you can go, definitely go, because all right, you've got the best jiu-jitsu in America these days, but the jiu-jitsu in Brazil is just it's just cool to be there, experience that.
Well, it's not even just the jiu-jitsu though, it's the whole culture. Again, living the fighter life, the fighter dream of, training every other breath and, eating acai in the other. And again, like learning the gringo Portuguese, like how did you learn like Portuguese off the bat in the first place?
Well, my mum's actually from Brazil. My mum's Brazilian. So like my mum was born in Brazil, but never really taught me any Brazilian or Portuguese. I would ask her to before I even was into jiu-jitsu, and it sort of never really happened. I had like a basic bits and bobs, and I could always understand a little bit because my mum was always on the phone talking to relatives in Brazil. But you just had to fucking pick it up quick. Like I remember we were training at Gordo's in the morning, and you would like in the warm-up there was like a big circle, and everyone would do like sit-ups in part of the warm-up, and every person would have to count to 10 all the way around in Portuguese. And I remember it like get to me, and I was like, "Fuck, I can't even count to 10 in Portuguese." You were just, you were just like just make a noise or something as you're doing it. Everyone's looking at what the fuck is this gringo doing? And then by the end of it, you just quickly learn, and then you'd ask some of the guys in the house who had better Portuguese there, and then you'd learn a bit more. And then I remember I got lost because I couldn't get a cab to where I needed to go because I couldn't pronounce the fucking word.
It's such a textbook scenario, isn't it? Like learning at school, it's like, how many apples does Johnny have? Fuck! Uma maçã! Boa.
Yeah, literally, mate, literally. So by the end of the trip, I could order some chicken and rice and some fucking salad.
Get the bill at the end of it, and you're sorted. The beer on the side.
Count to 10, so it was all good.
Say
hello, say goodbye. Yeah, mate.
I mean, that's something that gets so underappreciated when you hear about people learning these languages, and like even like people in the gym who English is their second language. Like,
it's mental.
Why is not appreciated more that you're learning something completely new in a separate language? Like how mental is that, and why is that?
Got
not
a lot of respect for people to do that. A lot of respect.
I barely speak English, let alone like my Polish. You know what I mean?
Fucking hell. Yes, I know some people can speak like a few languages. I'm like, how the fuck?
You know what I mean?
Speak English, mate. Just about.
I give a fuck about my bios. I want to know how you speak all these different languages. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, literally.
But this is where these trips, I feel, give you that extra level of maturity, understanding, and experience. Because again, it's when push came to shove, you had to learn that bit further. And this whole thing about being voluntarily steering into the skid in this discomfort. Because again, you could just stay nice and happy at your gym, plodding along. You could be the big fish in the small pond. You could be in your own environment with all the people below you, happy as days. Say below you in more of a skill set, not value. Obviously, everyone's you know what I mean. But again, then you go to this completely new area, new language, everything. You're massively in discomfort. Then you come back. Do you know what? This is like another level. And again, it opens up your world because they'll travel abroad in your minds even more so in this kind of scenario. Because again, your values changed, your priorities changed. You understand, okay, what if I don't have to compete? What if I can just enjoy my training in a calorie surplus? Maybe not deficit. Maybe actually enjoy what I'm doing. I actually do this for fun. I don't hate this.
Yeah, literally. Absolutely, man. That was it. Can eat acai after training and stuff like that. It was great.
Bom dia, indeed.
Yeah, mate.
Love to see it. Now, regardless of the way you coach and the way you understand these things, obviously that experience for yourself was very personal. It was something you needed at that time, and here we are now. But regards of developing your students and guiding them along their way, is it more of a proactive thing you'd expect from them to ask questions, or is it something you go over and influence certain things like the way they develop their game, things they make, competitions and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to that, I teach like structured classes. Sort of before obviously COVID, we'll teach like spend a period of time on one segment. So say like, I don't know, in the gi classes, it's spider guard, and we do that for a couple of weeks where we'll visit some like sweeps from there, some submissions from there, some back takes, some entries into other guards. So that will be like a subject we'll be on. And then in no gi it differs because obviously you can't play the same things. It's different sort of structure for that. However, I will always answer questions. Like a lot of the guys I tell them, like, make sure you ask questions. If you have a question, fucking ask. Do you know what I mean? Don't just not say, and ask in front of people. Get confident enough to do that. If you're really not confident to do that, ask me like on the side. I haven't got a problem with this sort of ask me about, like I'm teaching spider guard and someone wants to ask me about passing fucking De La Riva or something. I've got no problem with that. I will just always just say, look, get this done now, and then at the end of the session, just we'll go over that bit at the end, you know, like rather than sort of, because then you get other people looking over and like, well, what are they doing, sort of thing, and maybe want to do that as well. But I'll always answer like questions, and I'll always stay after, unless I've got to shoot off for something, which I normally don't. I'm always happy to sort of answer and help and show something if they want to know something specific. If that makes sense.
Well, definitely, because again, you have to invest in the person, but also make sure the collective structure is still being upheld. And now, when you're explaining a technique, do you try to go in as little detail as possible to try and get the concept across, or is it so like inch by inch details? Would you prefer to explain things?
Depends what it is, mate. Depends what it is. Like I can teach an armbar in from close guard. It's like a 10-step movement, and I explain to people that when you get good at it, it ends up being a 3-step movement. You understand the movement of just your spin, your fire, your hips, and you'll connect the arm, and you'll get the armbar. But when you're learning it as a beginner, you need to understand them in steps, and then as you get better, you can understand that, okay, I don't need to necessarily pull down on the collar here because I can break the posture of my legs, and the guy's committed over anyway. So you can sometimes fucking over explain something as well and sit there teaching a technique in the middle of the class for fucking 20 minutes, which doesn't need to be. Show the point, show the details, and also as well, like there's plenty of times I'll show it, and then I'll be like, oh, also guys, if you're having a problem with this, just where they are, I'll say, look, just give me your eyes, turn around, and I'll grab someone. I'll be like, look, remember this as well. If you're struggling to do this certain bit because you have short legs or you have thick legs or you don't have long enough arms, do this. Try that as well. There's no wrong or right. One sort of tiny detail might work better for you. That's what I tend to do it like that.
Because the reason for that sort of thing is some people prefer the John Danaher, spend like 2 hours explaining like a shrimp or something like that. It's like, okay, can we just spar now? But some people are so the opposite. They're sort of, okay, A goes to B, goes to C, us, 1, 2, 3, or one of those gyms. I hate those gyms. I can't do it. I can't count to 3. It's quite hard. But
no, none of that.
Save the mental energy for things you need to focus on. But again, it's do you prefer more action reaction? So for example, you teach, okay, we still start in position 1, the spider guard, they then do this pass, you then counter with this, or is it more, okay, here's attack number 1 from spider guard, here's attack number 2, 3, and 4 from the starting position? Like, what do you prefer?
So sometimes I'll show both. So say like say we're talking spider guard again, for example, it's okay, I'll show a technique, and then I'll be like, okay, from this technique, you can also, if they defend, you can flow onto this nicely. However, you can also use this second technique on its own, just from the get-go. So it doesn't mean you can only do the second one from the first. However, there is some techniques that only work off a reaction from the first technique. So you might try something, and if they defend it correctly and by putting their weight there, stopping the first technique, then the second will work. But if you don't actually deliver the first technique correctly and force them to defend properly, the second one won't work. And I say to people, and they're like, oh yeah, but what if he doesn't do that? If he doesn't do that, you get to sweep the first one anyway, so you're all good. You don't need to worry about the second. So if you are practicing that second technique, you need to fully invest in the first one to get the right reaction.
That last detail, everyone listen to that very carefully. Commit to the first attempt, because otherwise the feint isn't real. If my jab is like a little shitty paw, you're not going to flinch. So when I do a fake jab to a body shot, you're just going to look at me like I'm some sort of dickhead, because I would have been, because I did it wrong.
100%. I literally spoke about this with one of my students, a couple of my students recently. We were talking about feints in wrestling, right? Feinting sort of like to get them to level change and sort of like get your entry in. Now, I was explaining that if you don't invest in your feint, like in your sort of level change and committing to the legs, no one's going to defend it. Like if people just sort of like a little level change and do this to my legs, I won't react because I know you're not even near enough to my leg. However, if you fully invest in, you force like a good bit of movement, then your second attempt, or your second bit of movement, which will be your attack, will work like perfectly. See, but if, like you said, you throw a jab out of range, you're not even going to move your head. You're just going to be still. However, if you're in range and you're fully invested in your jab as a fake, you're going to get them to move. And then you're going to be able to set up your right hand. It's the exact same principle, exactly right with what you said.
Potential is a powerful thing, and I make such a big deal out of this because again, this is something I used to get so wrong with being a wet let. It's being like, oh, just being nice and flowing. So no, you can't put it on. So you not putting it on isn't anything. And people, it's a hard lesson, a hard pill to swallow. But again, you need to understand that you need to have the potential of chaos to hold it back. Otherwise, it's just nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
Empty. And on that note, I'll let you enjoy your Easter Monday. But I've got 3 questions for you. Same ones I ask everyone. First one, you're about to compete, you're about to walk out. Here comes you. What advice do you give to yourself to make sure you perform with the best mindset?
Let's fucking go, champ. Let's
That's it.
go.
Love it.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Just fucking go out there, leave it on the line, just fucking get it and have fun.
Perfect. Again, less is more personal sort of thing as to what prompts you need. No overcomplication. Just good headset, good headspace. You're already there. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Second
man.
one, my favorite question is post win, got the belt, got the medals, all the rest of it. What is going in the delivery basket? Takeaways. Talk to me. What is the plan of action?
Oh shit.
The real question.
Fucking hell. I used to do a thing when I would travel back from a competition with like the guys. We'd used to get some Krispy Kremes. That was always quite good on the way back. And then we get home, and then I get home and order some. I mean, maybe pizza's normally quite good. Yeah, Domino. Normally, like a Domino's would be good after competition because it's easy to eat as well. You can just fucking get it, lay there, bit broken, just stuff pizza in your mouth.
Victorious with your taped on your fingers.
Yeah,
What's on your
still on.
pizza though? Talk to me. Go on. What's the pan? What's the toppings? Talk to me.
Okay,
What's the
all
plan
right.
of action?
Every time barbecue base, that extra thin crust as well. I can't be dealing with that. None of that fucking big doughy shit.
It's the
Extra
conviction I
thin crust.
love. The conviction. You know.
Yeah, mate. Like, there's no ifs and buts as well. It's the only way. If someone says, "Do you want to get pizza?" and they get the pizza, I'm not having that
That's
shit. I
not
don't want to
pizza.
eat.
That's not what I
No,
ordered.
it's not the pizza I want to have, right? So yeah, barbecue. Then I have chicken, bacon, beef, and sweet corn with a barbecue base. With the dip, you need the dip as well. And
God, can I
that's
have?
the shit, bro. That's the one. Unreal. And then I feel like shit after, and I feel like shit the next day, and then I'm good to go and eat it again.
The sweet taste of victory. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Last question. Day one beginner walks in full of beans, that big white belt energy. What rule of thumb would you give them to make sure they stay consistent and, get on the right journey? Get on the right foot of their journey?
Oh, I would just say just stick it out. Stick it out and don't worry. Like let it sort of flow. Get in there. Understand you're gonna get smashed. Understand you're gonna get smashed by people that you would look at and think, how are they doing that to me? And just ride out. And I always say to people as well, remember, one day someone else will open that door and they'll be the new white belt. And then you won't be the beginner anymore. You won't be the new guy anymore. Then you'll be the one tapping them and doing stuff to them. And that's the sort of process and the flow of what happens.
Wonderful. Social media wise, where can people find you, find your gym?
Oh, okay. My personal social media is Alex Salisbury BJJ, I believe. I think it's Alex Salisbury BJJ.
A couple of underscores thrown in somewhere, but that's fine. We'll work that out.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's literally Alex Salisbury BJJ. That's my personal one, which I use a lot. And then my gym one is Nova BJJ, which you'll find in Hastings. And that's all it is. I don't use Twitter and stuff like that.
Regards to the gym, like hours and everything else, is it open from the 12th? You got like pro class on at the minute. What's the general thing people want to get involved with you?
Yeah, from the 12th, we have a brand new kids program starting, which is cool, which we're allowed, which is good. We've got a really cool kids program starting sort of every day. We have the pro elite sessions, which are sort of the pros, they know who they are as well, which other pros are welcome to come as well. They can always reach out to me and come down and get some sort of pro sparring for MMA and pro sparring for grappling. And then we have from the 12th, which we'll have open mat sort of training to flow with the government guidelines. So people can come in and train in their bubbles and still sort of get to roll and stuff. We fully sanitize the gym every day after sort of the daytime sessions and the evening sessions as well. So it's fully clean to the best of our ability. And then I think it's like May the 17th, something like that. Excuse me. Full classes start again. But yeah, anyone want to come down and visit or join the gang, shoot me a message. Yeah, it'd be great to have you.
Perfect. And with that, guys, remember, supporting these gyms supports the fighters, supports everything, the whole foundation of grassroots, MMA, jiu-jitsu, everything. We don't have the competitions, we don't have the UFC, we don't have all this sort of talent without the people supporting the gyms to give the people the facility to train and so on and so forth. So again, I'm always will be in the description. Keep an eye out, support where you can, even if it's just social media, if you're not in sort of reachable distance. Check out the podcast sponsors, the English Hypnotist. Again, conversation with Rich is game changing. We speak about on the podcast quite a lot about mindset and how it can really get in the way and can really help you and learn how to sort of manage your own. Game changing. Also, good performance nutrition. Dan Good, a guy who gives back to the community. Again, building up an amazing MMA program and like general fitness stuff around the Northamptonshire area. And Good Performance Nutrition is a company he started. good priced supplements, good quality, mixes well, tastes nice. And again, local business, supports other people. What more do you want? We've got the
Absolutely.
Fisticuffs rash
Support
guards.
local business.
That's it.
Support local business.
Support local business. Again, build the foundation, and then everything else can grow above that. We've got rash guards, valid 2 days in, new shorts en route. Stay up to date on the website, but most importantly, stay yourself, stay grateful, and just keep being you.